It smells like pizza with basil.
I just grew all of this fresh organic produce in my kitchen in just a few weeks with a smart garden. I didn't have to worry about water or sunlight. I'm gonna tell you how it works and what it's really like to live with a 5-foot-tall veggie growing machine, because things got a bit out of hand. It looks like it belongs in a space station science lab, but behind me is the garden, spelled with a Y, and it grew a ton of fresh leafy greens and herbs. I'm working on some new sproutlings now. It's like having a farmer's market in my kitchen because at any time, my family and I can get these super fresh greens to eat, and I don't need to know squat about how to take care of plants. You may have come across hydroponic devices like this popping up in different forms. Many are small that you can put on a countertop, but nothing is quite like this for the indoors. Now, I don't need to connect it to a water line, I don't have a backyard, and I don't need to put it near a window. So this was really interesting to me. The Gardyn sells itself as an artificially intelligent system that monitors your plants. It manages the water and the light. It's vertical hydroponics. That means you do not need soil. Here, let me show you. It starts like this, with seeds already inside these little cubes that are sent to you. It's not soil in here, it's a soft material called rock wool, and you pop them in cylinder pods. And you can place these little cylinder pods anywhere around the garden. Now let me show you one that's already been growing a bit. This is my tomato plant. He's coming along pretty nicely. Now, when it's growing, the roots will reach out and drink up the water that is gathering in the bottom of the cylinder. Water is pumped from the bottom of the tank, and that's where you're gonna put in this powdered plant food. It's full of minerals and nutrients that the plants need. And in this system, it's getting 20 hours of light a day from these 2 light poles. But you can change the light if you want. You can dim it or turn it off anytime you need. And that's basically how you'll get monster plants that will swallow you up alive.
Feed me, Seymour, feed me.
That's right.
Although that's not the full story, after 3 months of living with it, there is plenty I learned that they don't tell you right away. And some surprises were just a little bit frightening. To explain it best, let us start at the beginning.
How does your garden grow?
The Gardyn is delivered in a gigantic box for you to assemble. The starter pack is the same for everyone. You get this 6-gallon tank that takes up about 2 feet of floor space. And the light systems are really delicate and a pain to snap together, but for the most part, it was basic. You get these instructions to follow with videos to guide as you go. I was sent a review sample from the company, but the machine right now is on sale for about $800. So yes, that is the price of a computer. But over time, that cost is saving you trips to the produce aisle. I have not needed to buy salad for months at a time where I don't want to go to the grocery store as often because shopping is stressful. So this way, eating fresh takes less work.
Lettuce, tomato, and avocado have the ability.
Now when finished, it stands 5 feet 5 inches tall and holds 30 plants. The starter pack has an assortment of seed pods with herbs like mint and basil and cilantro and a bunch of lettuce varieties. I'm not talking about the store-bought iceberg or romaine. This is gourmet stuff. Rouge de Havre, Brine, Matilda, Swiss chard, Butterhead, Tatsoi. Yeah, I had no clue what any of those were when I started either because I know nothing of plants, but you scatter them throughout the garden, putting them wherever you want. So delightful. You then connect it to the Wi-Fi and an app and bam, let there be light. Yes, it's very bright. The pump will trickle water down a few times a day on a cycle.
I spy something growing.
In 3 days, the little babies begin to sprout. Well, maybe not all the babies. Kale, in the center of my shot, was not cooperating. In fact, none of my kale grew, and I never liked kale, so of course it would disappoint me. But actually, a few seeds were not sprouting. The app would give me words of encouragement, like, hey, good going on the growth so far, and don't worry, some just take a little longer. How did it know? Because there are cameras. Yes, that is what makes this garden unique. There is a smart assistant program. They call it Kelby. It sends alerts for some basic scheduled upkeep. It encourages you on progress, warns you when something looks off, and it can see your garden because 2 cameras are on the light poles. There is no video or audio being recorded. These take still photos every 30 minutes. It seems a bit much, but if you need hand-holding, a human on the support team can see your photo history of progress. Now, most of my help was automated by the computer. It is not always clear how much a human is checking in. One time it told me a plant was looking wilty, and to check on it, if it was getting enough water, I made some adjustments and it perked right up. The company is trying to balance something that gives people an option to get a live checkup if they want it, where you can email your questions to experts for bigger problems. But Kelby itself is not going to poke at you too much, so customers can just be left alone to do their own thing. My Kelby tips were pretty good. They popped up once in a while to remind me to put more water or food in the tank, but funny thing is, I wish it did nag me more because I'm not the kind of person who goes out of my way to reach out with questions. Instead, I had to learn some things the hard way.
Chapter 3, a fresh feast.
In just 1 month, we were eating the best salads of our lives. Now, I didn't really know the best way to harvest leaves at first. App suggestions are written pretty loosely, but I learned that you just cut or pluck the leaves from the outside in, and you just gotta eyeball not to take too much. I enjoyed getting my kids involved in it. Perhaps the greatest value here was getting kids to think salad is fun. Even the baby was into it. Well, sort of. In that first month, I was living it up, throwing greens on anything. Basil in the sauce, basil on the pasta, basil on the hamburgers. I don't know what to do with all this basil, okay? It's a lot. Look at the mint. Just add a little seltzer and you got some classy mint-infused fizzy water. I never ate so fresh. And with a month gone by, the system told me to order 10 more plants. That's because Gardyn has a subscription service. It costs roughly $30 a month. And with that, you're getting 10 new seed pods every month, all non-GMO and from the US, and they get mailed to you. If you do not subscribe, you could just order a la carte on your own when you want some for $5 a pop. When you get a new batch in the mail, they come with instructions. You put them in a container, add a little water, wait a week or so, and once they sprout, then they can be inserted into the garden. You can also order blank pods if you feel adventurous, because you can use your own seeds to grow whatever you want. Now it's time to put the new plants in and take out the garbage.
Little drop of hose.
Some plants just never grew. Goodbye, losers. Instead of growing food, you grew some questionable fuzz and algae and liverworts. Ugh, yeah, random spore creatures not welcome in my house. As it turns out, when the seeds didn't grow, the pod kept getting water with nutrients, and well, life finds a way to grow something. And if you think that was bad, there was actually something worse lurking in my garden. So at about week 6, my plants were looking crazy huge, but that's because I didn't want to overpluck them at first. I'm thinking, hey, I want to keep my plants alive as long as possible. I want salad forever. So I'll just eat a little here and there. Turns out that was a bad move. What I didn't realize was the plants were getting bunched up too tight by overgrowing. I wasn't harvesting them fast enough. Don't judge me. So that's when I discovered, brace yourself, new life forms growing inside. Oh yeah, that is not how you win friends with salad. No. So I chopped all that nastiness off. Goodbye, gross. Also kind of sad. But not all was lost. I harvested the heck out of everything that was still good. You could say it was a bit of a snack. At this point, I'm learning all the maintenance that's needed. You have to clean the tank every month or so. It's not hard. It just requires you to pop off the top, clean out the inside, add fresh water with plant food. And you gotta check on your plant roots because they need trimming. I did not expect them to travel down the pipes. They are such aggressive little beast plants. It was normal and it's easy to take care of, but some problems were a little harder to solve. As my next batch is growing, I see them looking questionable again. This time I messaged the Kelby support to see if there was something I could do. They suggested to just buy a little natural fungicide spray for some of the growth and to cover the green algae with aluminum foil to stop it. My poor tomatoes. I mean, not all of the plants wilted, but maybe some of them were just too young to handle the spray, or maybe I did something wrong. The Kelby team was nice. They offered to replace the plants that didn't make it, something that they offer to everyone if this happens. Some lessons you just have to learn the hard way. And I still had one more major lesson to go.
The bitter end.
There comes a time in every plant's life where it'll get really big and then grow buds and flowers. And at that point, it's no good to eat because it changes the taste of the leaves and it gets bitter. Let me show you my mint. Beast mint. Check this out. It's not good with its crazy root. I got no warning from Kelby. Just tell me what to do. I don't want to read an app. I kept these flowering plants around for the video, but I'm gonna toss them and start the story again with new plants. This time I got more tasty leafy greens. And that's really a tip I wish Gardyn told me from the start. If I knew that these plants were only gonna be good for like 3 months and I'm getting a supply of 10 plants a month, I'm going to plan to always have a constant rotation with different life stages, only growing the stuff I really love, and that way I'll have a supply at all times. Do you need the subscription service? Well, for the simplicity of getting more cubes and seeds without thinking too much about it, yes, I do like it, especially in the beginning. But remember, this is not some magical do nothing and get instant salad machine, as much as I wanted it to be. You got to maintain it, maybe study a little bit on the plants, and you have to eat your greens often. I should mention, the Gardyn is not just for food. You can order flowers, but why are you paying all this money for flowers? This is a food machine as far as I'm concerned. Go petunia somewhere else. 3 months in, I think I finally got the hang of how to garden with the Gardyn. It feels easy, and these days, easy is good.
Yes, I got it.
Show me. Good, you want to eat it?
Nope. Well, we got it. You.